They call us crazy conspiracy theorists, but one after another, they keep turning out to be true. People have been talking about UFOs minimally since the 40s, or they've been investigating them since the 40s. But there is a long history of people seeing weird objects flying through the sky when there is nothing that could be up there other than birds. So tonight on Thursday Night Live, we're going to be talking about the UFO disclosure that just recently occurred. So stay tuned. So the Department of War recently released a treasure trove of documents relating to UFO and UAP, the new name, unidentified aerial phenomena, which everyone, it's kind of like Twitter and X. Like, it's X, but you still call it Twitter because it's easier. So UAP. But they released, I did not write down how many pages, but a lot of material. And since that time, and this has been a couple of weeks, over 1 billion people have accessed those files. And according to sources, they are going to be releasing more documents as time moves forward. So one of the things that I find interesting is that over 1 billion people have accessed those files. However, I have not seen anybody bring forward reports of anything phenomenal that they have found in this trove of documents. There have been some videos shown on TV, but no smoking gun, no like real hardcore pictures, no government documents as far as like, this is what they found. There's no body. There's nothing. I mean, there's just these documents of credible sources, supposedly. Okay, I have not looked at them, so this is a little bit of secondhand information of credible sources relaying what they have seen in the sky. So military people, police officers, those kind of individuals. But it's interesting because Fox News brought this story up as part of their coverage, and they brought on credible, witnesses that were able to access this information or, had sources on the inside that could give them this information. And what they revealed was that there were 4 types of alien beings. So there are the grays, which are the kind you see on TV, the short little gray guys with the little teeny mouth and really no nose. Those are the grays. Then there are my personal favorite, the reptilians, who live in underground bases and control the government. And they are anthropomorphic, and all of them are anthropomorphic. They have arms and legs, but the reptilians are scaly and supposedly have a long tail attached to them. Then there are the insectoids, which I find very interesting. And I actually worked with a lady at a fair, and psychically, she was one of these insectoids, which was kind of weird because it was before I even knew that they were a thing. But they supposedly look like praying mantises. And then there are the Nordics, which are actually Caucasian. I'm going to say it in the politically correct way, Caucasian, and are often depicted with white hair. And it is my belief, and what I talk about in my book, E.T. Chronicles, What Myth and Legends Have to Say About Humanity, they are the ones that won the war against the half man, half snake, half man, half fish, aka the reptilians, and took over control of the planet. And it is this group that pushed forward the idea of creating humanity in their own likeness. Okay. So I said they released case files and some like not good video. Um, if I could read my own handwriting, it would be really good. Oh, but there has been this talk about them having challenges. This is senators having challenges of getting the documents released, that they're being slow walked or, interrupted in some way of getting the documents put out there. But again, so far, no pictures of aliens. So far, no pictures of craft. Now, granted, we have AI now, and that could be part of the issue, that, you could just generate something on AI and call it real, and it would be a little hard pressed to dispute that. But, and so there are a number of whistleblowers or people in the know that have wanted to come forward, but there's concern that they are hesitating, like they don't want to show up for interviews, they don't want to go out on the record because of the 15 NASA or jet propulsion employees that have gone missing in the last couple of years. And so, their fear is, if I come forward, if I give this evidence out there, that I will also become one of these missing people. But according to a new release, it's not just the US that has documentation about these UAPs. Apparently, there are reports that came from Russia about their MiGs chasing after aircraft in the sky, multiple reports of that. So, you think it's a United States thing, but actually it's a global event that is happening. So my question is, why not produce the evidence? Why not give us or the news or, the media or whatever access to the crafts, access to any bodies that have been recovered or tissue of bodies that have been recovered? Because if the aliens were actually caught live on camera on the news, then I think it would bring more credibility to this whole thing. And it's not that I'm doubting extraterrestrials and UFOs. It's not coming from a doubting place, but it's coming from we're releasing this stuff. And it's kind of like, yeah, but you gave us the stuff from the bottom sock drawer all the way in the back that you haven't touched in years, and who cares? So bottom line, what seemed like science fiction maybe is not too much. So what do you think? What do you think about the UFO thing, and the release and the timing of the whole thing? And please put your comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. But before I move on and transition into the rest of the show, I have something very, very exciting to share. And so, okay, I want to say I've been working on this a long time, but that it would not be a true story. So today has been the debut of a new tinfoil hat character who likes to talk conspiracy. And his name is Raylan McBride. And he's here just for a very quick visit to be with you. So hang on and please welcome Raylan McBride from the Bark of Reason.
They've tried to tax it, they've tried to shame it, but now they're hacking your DNA to ban it. Let's talk about alpha-gal syndrome. It's not a tick problem, it's a your dinner is illegal problem. The labs are printing lab-grown sludge and forcing bug burgers on the masses. They need you allergic to the real thing, so you're dependent on their processed slurry. It's a cowless coup, and they're using a bug as the trigger man. A population that can't eat red meat is a population that's easier to herd. They're turning the natural world into a bioweapon. If you can't eat from the land, you're forced to eat from the machine. They're coming for your grill and they're using a parasite to force feed you their sludge. Get loud before a ribeye steak is extinct. Signing off, I'm Raylan McBride. This is The Bark of Reason. Stay sharp, stay free, stay cool.
So that's Raylan, and he debuted today. Hang on one second. So he is going to be, he is a new character that I have created, and he will be dropping videos very regularly. Like I have one scheduled to drop tomorrow. There'll be a couple that will drop next week as well. If you would like to if you like him, because isn't he adorable with the little tinfoil hat? Anyway, if you would like to support him, like and subscribe to his channel, you can find him on YouTube at The Bark of Reason. That's on YouTube. He's also on TikTok, The Bark of Reason, and on Facebook, where he shares a whole lot of conspiracy theory posts as well as poodle videos on Facebook. But on all of the platforms, it's The Bark of Reason. Please like and subscribe and support Raylan in his endeavor to get the truth out. And if you would like to support me, you can go to my website. I don't want that one. Or soulhealer.com, and you can read any of the articles that I've written. You can get copies of my books there. They're all signed and ready to go. And if you like the material that I put forward and would like to schedule a private consultation with me, please go to soulhealer.com and reach out. Would love to hear from you. Oh, and if you love Raylan, I would love to hear your comments and put those in the comments below. I have my fingers crossed that this is just going to go viral. That's my hope. So send Raylan some really good juju. Okay. So let's talk about the ground rules. So if you would like to get a reading today, please go into the chat room and type in something to the effect, "Hey, Dr. Rita, your hair looks really good." Okay, maybe not so good today, but your hair looks really good, because you can lie. And then you can say, "And I'd like to get a reading," and then give me a number between 1 and 3. And that's how many times I will shuffle on your behalf. So 1 and 3 in the chat room. And I will get to you in the order that they are received. And there's already a ton of comments in there. And so if you're concerned that you are not going to get your reading today, no, that is, all right, remove. And there we go. You can go to soulhealer.com/live. That's soulhealer.com/live. And jump the line. And so if I hear that little chime that was just chiming before, I will go check and do a reading for whoever submits it via email. If you have a specific question, what's going on with my health, what's going on with my work, I have a relationship question, which does not necessarily come up under 1, 2, 3, soulhealer.com, click the Ask Dr. Rita, and in addition to jumping the line, you can ask a personal question of me. And while you're there, if you're enjoying the show, and you want to leave me a little something, there's also a link there where you can leave a tip. Okay. So, and actually, let me go over here. Okay, so let's see. What do we got going on? So first up is Christine. Hey, Christine. She says, "Hello, beautiful. How are you doing?" And then she says, "And I'm doing wonderful, Christine. Thank you. What do you think of Raylan? Isn't he adorable?" And then she says, "I'd like a reading number 2, please, and thank you." And you sure can, Christine. Okay. All right, Christine. So this is your card for today. So, Christine, I feel like you are in a very interesting right now. I get the impression that there is a situation going on around you. So it's not your situation per se. I feel like they want to get you involved in the situation. And the word that keeps coming up for me is, but you're being like Mother Teresa and you're not getting involved in all of it and you're allowing it to play out around you. And even though that has been a challenging energy, it has been a good boundary practice energy for you. Um, and I get the impression that to not get all involved in it, you've been having to work with your tools and grounding and mindfulness and all of that good stuff. So, whatever this is, you're doing a good job because I feel like you are keeping that separation between you and that. All right. So, that chime did go off. So, let's see what came through. And it's just like noisy, noisy, noisy. Okay, and that would be a not. Okay, all right, let's see. That was Christine, and now we have Prayer's Edge. Hello, Rita, may I have a reading number 2? Thank you. Hi, Prayer's Edge. So you're a new name here. Welcome to the show. I really appreciate you being here tonight. So I really am hoping that you guys go to YouTube or TikTok or Facebook and like or follow Raylan at the Bark of Reason, And I'm doing it too. Sorry, I just can't get over it because I love how he came out. Okay, Prayer's Edge, here's your card for today. So Prayer's Edge, I feel like you are in you're in a change process right now. I feel like you're sitting in an energy of should I stay or should I go? I feel like there have been times, maybe enough times, where your inner world has been disrupted. And now you are kind of gathering yourself together, deciding, is this really what I want to do? Or do I need to escape from that? So it's interesting because I'm really not getting what the situation is. And so I'm going to throw this out. I am not dissuading you in any way, but I would like to throw this out. Is there a fear piece getting into here, or an old programming or something being triggered in you that is leaving you feeling this way? Because I feel like there's something that is sitting in there that might be provoking this forward. And so if your inclination is to, ditch and run, make sure you're ditching and running because that's what you really feel and that's what you really need. And not because you're having a reaction, a pre-programmed reaction to what is going on around you. That is, but if that's the decision and that's what feels right, and that this is what is best for your higher self, then you go do it. And as always, if these sessions are making sense to you, please, give me feedback back down below. Okay. All right. And it's Amy. And she says, hi, Dr. Rita. Happy Thursday. Can I please have a number 1 reading tonight? Thank you. And you sure can, Amy. Okay. Interesting. Same card for you. So, Amy, I'm kind of seeing not the same energy, similar energy, but the words that you're giving me are, I just want to turn it off. Like I want to turn off the TV. I feel like there is a level of disgust. I like that word, disgust inside of you. Where when you look out, you're just like, and you just want it to end. You just want to turn it off. You just want to have your happy life back. I mean, I'm not really sure I have an answer or suggestion. I feel like, by turning it off, you would feel like, but what if something happens? Like you feel like you need to be involved on a certain level for your own safety and own protection. So it's kind of sitting there as a double-edged sword for you. So maybe you can minimize the interaction. Maybe you can take a step back for a little bit till you feel more grounded and secure and kind of move through this energy that you're in right now. But again, I'm not really getting an answer because I think, there are a lot of people feeling this way. Okay, and I don't have any lozenges, so hang on one quick second. Okay, I'm back. All right, let me lozenge because once I start coughing, you guys have experienced it. It is not pretty. Okay, let's see. And we have Yvonne next, and she says, hello, everybody. Happy holiday weekend. Dr. Rita looking great. Thank you, Yvonne. As always, may I get a reading number 2, please? And you sure can, Yvonne. Ooh, Yvonne. So for anybody that's new, when these cards come up, they're called mass cards. And they usually indicate that there's an energy you don't want to look at. There's some denial. Your energy flow is somehow blocked. And I usually will pull cards till I feel it clears. Yvonne, I'm going to go with this one for you. So it's just the next one down. So that's good. So Yvonne, I feel like, so it's interesting because I feel like Spirit has been pushing you forward and giving you ideas and you do this and you should go do that. And I don't get the impression that these urges have been coming from ego. I feel like they have been coming from source, but I feel like there's a certain amount of frustration that you're experiencing with that. And I feel like they're yet again pushing you to explore a different avenue, explore something different. And there's a little bit of resistance. How's that? Resistance, and as the Borg say, resistance is futile. And so maybe look at that and see. I just mostly want to point out the resistance, and maybe surrendering to it will make it so that you can look at it, or maybe you look at it a little bit and go, no, I really don't want to do that. But the biggest part, again, was the resistance to the being open. That's a good way to being open to letting whatever this is that wants to come in. Okay. And now we have Nancy Tovak. Hi, Nancy. So I kind of remember your name, but I'm not really sure. So if it's your first time here, welcome to the show. And see, she listens very good. She says, hi, Dr. Rita, your hair looks amazing. May I have a reading, please, number 3? And you sure can, Nancy. Okay. And that's your card for today. So Nancy, when I look at your energy space, you keep showing me this picture of like you're sitting there and it's like, I want to say snowing, but I don't like that word. It's like, I'm sorry, but these bangs are driving me crazy. But like there's little pieces of confetti floating down around you. Um, and I feel like you're not really knowing what to do with it. Like, do I grab it? Do I just watch it? What do I do with this? I get the impression. I mean, this is just kind of interesting. I've never seen like confetti fall down around a person before. Um, so I get the impression that all of these things are potential opportunities for you, and I feel like there's part of you that's feeling a little bit overwhelmed because there's too much out there. There's too many directions you can go or you can move into. And what they're suggesting is that you just sit back and watch the rain, watch that snowfall, watch that confetti come down and land on the ground. Because once it lands on the ground, it will become, or where you're supposed to move will become more rooted. And instead of having all of this stuff to pick from, it will become a much smaller grouping for you to kind of pick and choose from. So just imagine it, all this confetti falls on the ground, but those ones over there, like they ended up in a mud puddle. And these ones over here are all kind of crinkled up or they're in a bush. And then there's just going to be some that are just like right there and they're perfectly placed. And those are the ones that you should go after. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And it's Austin Exit America. Hey, Austin. He says, hi, Dr. Rita. Could I get a reading, please? Number 3. You sure can, Austin Exit America. So, Austin, what did you think of Raylan? All right. We just had some cards fall on the ground. All right, Austin. Okay, and that's your card for today. So, Austin, I get the impression that there has just been a lot going on around you. I feel like you are having some anxiety and worry. Not really about anything like that is present or in particular, but it's keeping you from being able to relax and ground. And when I look at your energy, and so I'm going to say it this way, and I'm going to talk a little technical. So, I mean, we've talked on this show about chakras, and I'm pretty sure you know what the chakras are. So when I look at you, I see that your 3rd chakra, which is about your will and willpower, is pushed out way in front of you. And your 6th chakra, which is about clear seeing, is also way, way out in front of you. And I would like for you to just imagine that you can kind of stick your finger on the end of those chakras and push them back into place to bring you back into the present time. I feel like your energy is way too far in the future and there's not any grounding to it. There's not anything solid to dig into. And when you pull your energy back, you will be able to see better, see clearer. You'll be able to see from the here and now and not from, well, in 2030, There could be a hurricane that comes by and takes out my house. I mean, I feel like your energy is way out in the future. Bring it back. It will cut that anxiety right off. And it's Marco. Hey, Marco. Nice seeing you. And he says the sound is not in sync with my lips. Really, Marco? Oh, if I really, Marco. And it's Don. Don, you're on YouTube. Sweet. And he says, hi, Dr. Rita. I'm late. Could I get a 3 reading? And you sure can. Okay, so if you liked Raylan, so I'm not sure if I'm going to see these comments in the chat, but please do put them like below the video or whatever. If you would like to see more Raylan, because I'm producing a bunch of these, let me know, because he will become a regular feature in between me doing my little monologue and me starting the reading part. And we could all visit with Raylan. All right, Don, let's see what we got for you today. Ooh, nice card. All right, and there's your card for today. Okay, Don. So it's interesting. I feel like your energy has been pretty grounded recently, but there's this part of you that is like wanting to nitpick it to death. So your inner critic was really used to going in and going, yeah, well, that sucks. Yeah, well, that sucks. Well, yeah, that sucks. Because that's just the nature of the inner critic. Please do not bring your inner critic into your I feel good and I feel grounded space. And so I'm challenging you that if you start noticing that you're kind of picking at like, I feel good, I feel whole, I feel solid, that's a great place to be. But if while you're in that place, you start nitpicking things, it's just going to drop your energy down. But if you start paying attention to it, that's when you can start to change it. You have to find the pattern. And once you find the pattern, it gives you the opportunity to shift it. Okay, Don? All right. Yvonne says, so cute. Thank you. All right. And we have Ohora. Hey, Ohora. She says, hello, dear Dr. Rita. Good to see you and be in your presence. May I have your wisdom revelation on number 3, please? Thank you indeed. Cheers to you. And you sure can. And as always, if these sessions are making sense to you or resonating with you, I would love to hear about them below. But I would really like to hear what you think about the Bark of Reason, Raylan McBride. All right, Ohora, that's your card for today. So, Ohora, I feel like you are working on letting go of some frustration that you've been experiencing. And I want to make the commentary that you're feeling the frustration because you are starting off with some kind of expectation. And when that expectation isn't satisfied or isn't met in the way you think it should be met, you're experiencing some kind of negative emotion to it. And then you have to deal with that. And then you have to release it to come back to being centered and neutral. And so your challenge, man, we're giving out challenges today. Your challenge is maybe you can start finding where you are creating these expectations And instead of saying, well, this is how it should be, or this is how I want it, just start accepting it for what it is, because it's not anything that we can necessarily control. And the more we can just accept what is for what is, the less frustrated we are or become about the result of the situation. So you're challenged. Okay, let's see. So Don says, I love it. And it's true. Bill Gates owns the company that's doing this to us. Yeah. And see, I don't really want to like put names in stuff for fear of like YouTube slinging. But thanks, Don. I'm glad you love Raylan, because I already have like 6 done. Okay. And then Christine said, that's awesome dog. Thank you. All right. And Lady Spitfire says, hello, Dr. Rita. May I have a reading number 2? And you sure can, Lady Spitfire. All right. You're going to give me a hard time on that shuffle. All right. And that's your card for today. So, Lady Spitfire, one of the things that you're showing me is that you are kind of in a self-nurturing place right now. I feel like you were experiencing a lot of not frustration, anxiety, I don't know, negative stuff. That was going on for, I'm going to say a couple of weeks, like more than just a day, but for a moment in time. And I feel like it's resolved, or you stepped away from it, whatever. But I feel like part of your healing and moving out of that funky place has been for you to focus more on you, you know, and having fun and doing things that bring you joy. Because when we're in joy, we're not in a negative place. So good job for transmuting that emotional energy. And then Christine says, thank you for the reading. It makes sense to me. Excellent, Christine. Okay. Marco, you're such a smart ass. So Marco says, Rita, do you need mouth to mouth? I am here to help. Okay, Marco, that would be great. And then Don wants to know how I'm dealing with the data centers being built where I'm at. So I'm really not near, at least as far as I know, where they're building a data center. Thank God. I don't really understand why we need 5 million data centers. I don't understand that. So, but you never know. Raylan might have an episode about that, and maybe we can dig to the bottom of that conspiracy. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Yvonne says, yes, I'm going to do the idea I'm resisting. Okay, and Yvonne, resisting is okay. Sometimes resisting means step forward slowly. And so as you step forward slowly, or perhaps with a little bit of caution, you might take a few steps and realize this isn't really what I want to do, and that's okay. Just blind ambition and just go for it. And then there's going into it with caution, you know, slowly, whatever that word would be. So let's see. And Amy says, yes, spot on again. Smart idea for the bark of reason. Thank you, Amy. We'll follow him and take a break from all the others. Heading to the tip jar. Amy, thank you so much for heading to the tip jar. I appreciate you. You know, and I'm going to put this up again. Since y'all loved him, wait a minute, hang on a second. Let's turn Amy off. Where'd you go, Amy? The Bark of Reason, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok is where the videos will be posting. My goal is to post like 2 or 3, maybe more. It depends on how many credits I have for the video processing every week. Every week. So there's going to be something new. Because I have to tell you, there is plenty of material to choose from. Plenty. Okay, let's see. See now, all right, there's Amy. And then compassion, I can't say that. Says, I combine my chakras into one energy column. So I'm assuming you mean this way energy column, but energy goes this way, but it also projects front and back. And when I was talking about Austin Escapes America, I was talking about the front and back kind. And Lady Spitfire says, hello at Just Energy Radio. Love the hair as always, making sure you see my message earlier. Ooh, did I miss something? I don't know. I must have missed you, Lady Spitfire. Hang on. No, I'm pretty sure I got you. Sometimes this line gets a little bit long. Well, Lady Spitfire, I am not even seeing you on the list, so I'm glad that you spoke up again. And yes, you can have a reading number 2. Okay, so now you're saying, okay, hang on. Okay, so I guess I didn't miss you. Okay, then I'm just going to stop there. Okay, so Lady Spitfire says, thank you, Om, and then says, yes, thank you. I've been getting out a lot more metal detecting lately. Could use more for sure. Well, you're so welcome. And this says, I'm worried about it. They are coming here. I'm sure the beautiful country and all the woods. Oh, the data centers. Yeah. And actually I saw, and I don't remember where it was, that they were basically clear cutting a forest that they could put in solar panels. It's like, we have too much CO2, but here's the secret. Plants, which include trees, breathe in the CO2 and breathe out oxygen. That's how it works. And if you cut down all the trees, we aren't going to be breathing very good. Okay, let's see. Okay, Dawn says, Dr. Rita, I have as you a tough time being positive. I'm just very upside down on what's going on. Data centers, Muslims, and now the Hindus. So Dawn, you better subscribe to Raylan's channel, The Bark of Reason, on YouTube and on Facebook. Better. I'm going to be looking for you. And yeah, I hear you. I have the same upset, which I think is part of the reason why I decided to bring Raylan to life. So we have a few minutes left. Actually, we have 15 minutes left. Anybody have any questions, like not psychic reading questions, but questions in general? Would you like to see Raylan again? Because I can play him over again. I think I'm going to do that just in case you came in late and you didn't get to see him. No, stop it.
They've tried to tax it. They've tried to shame it. But now they're hacking your DNA to ban it. Let's talk about alpha-gal syndrome. It's not a tick problem. It's a your dinner is illegal problem. The labs are printing lab-grown sludge and forcing bug burgers on the masses. They need you allergic to the real thing, so you're dependent on their processed slurry. It's a cowless coup, and they're using a bug as the trigger man. A population that can't eat red meat is a population that's easier to herd. They're turning the natural world into a bioweapon. If you can't eat from the land, you're forced to eat from the machine. They're coming for your grill, and they're using a parasite to force feed you their sludge. Get loud before a ribeye steak is extinct. Signing off, I'm Raylan McBride. This is The Bark of Reason. Stay sharp, stay free, stay cool.
That's my Raylan. And so Don said, I would love to see him. He's great. Again, subscribe, Bark of Reason, YouTube, Facebook, not Twitter. He's not on Twitter yet. And TikTok. And then Amy says they are building 2 AI data centers and a 200-acre solar farm here within about 2 miles of me. That's why I'm thinking about moving. Oh my God. Again, I don't really understand the need for all. I mean, they're massive, these data centers, or some of them, you know, I heard one report was as big as Manhattan. Manhattan is a huge island. Why do you need so much space for all of this computing equipment? You know, and then there's the water usage. And I already have that on my list about how much water these data centers use up. And I don't understand, you know, like if you're in a nuclear power plant, they recycle the water because the water is for cooling. So if they're using and discharging this water, what is the water being used for? I don't really understand that part either. I don't. Anyway, guys, so there haven't been any questions. So I guess I'm going to go and have a little bit early evening. So, okay, 1, like and subscribe to The Bark of Reason. Stop by my webpage, soulhealer.com, and reach out for a session. But until next time, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.